Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the 8.1 rewards opening, everything that I received at the end of the latest story content. 8.1 was pretty fun. These new story movements are more or less a slightly extended Cav EQ type situation, so they're definitely not that difficult to get through if you are sort of in my peer group with a roster of my size, but it was pretty fun to use some of my new rank 4s as well as some of the numerous rank 3s that I've added to my account since the last Act 7 chapter came out, because it really has been going quickly. I decided to go with Science Tier 6 class Catalyst here, just because the Science class is so stacked. I could definitely see myself with a rank 5 Scorpion someday, but there are other champions like Quicksilver and, potentially Overseer that could also pique my interest. I just think the Science class really benefits from additional stats and is one of the more well-rounded classes out there. So next up, we're going to go for the Awakening Gem. I don't really have a specific ask here. I do have a tech one, so doubling up on that would not be the greatest thing, but we are going to see what happens here, and we get skill. So yeah, skill definitely has some uses. I will be taking a look at my roster in a second to see exactly who that can be for. I do not have Nick Fury, so of course waiting to pull him could be an interesting option, even though I do have a generic gem. But taking a look here with the new sort of quality of life sorting option, we'd love to see that. The relevant champions for me are Black Cat and Kingpin here. Everybody else would either be defensive or for some future use, but for sure Black Cat and Kingpin are both rank 3. I do think they both benefit from that awakening. Black Cat gets the extra lives so that she has a little bit of a safety net, and then Kingpin just makes the ramp up much easier, especially if you can get him to a certain SIG level so that he has multiple debuffs at the beginning. All right, so next up we are going for the 3 to 4 gem. This is going to help us decide who our next rank 4 is. And coming around the corner, we have a skill. So we have matching skill materials here, and immediately I'm thinking of a certain fat man that could benefit from both of these materials. By the end of the video, we'll take a look at exactly how I use this, because I did put it into use right away, and I was thinking about Battlegrounds when I did so. So once again, looking at the roster here, we're going to filter by skill. The champions that I have at the top of the skill class is rank 4 Elsa, as well as Falcon, Moleman, Killmonger, and Jabari, Black Cat, and Kingpin. Those are the rank 3s, and then Agent Venom is sort of sneaking into the bottom there. And then when we look down, there really are not as many choices that could utilize this treatment. Korg would be a full defensive play. Black Panther would be a little bit more of a niche play. Anyone else, Hitmonkey would be good for Battlegrounds, but I don't know if I would waste the Awakening Gem on him. Thor is not as relevant prestige-wise. So yeah, there is not too much to consider. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, looking at the fact that I got skill, I had vowed to myself that I was done with the featured crystal, but we have decided that we are not stopping until we get Omega Sentinel. So things are about to snowball here as we pull a Howard the Duck dupe to start off. But I was just thinking, I'm about to have the materials for another rank 4, and I just don't know who it's going to be. Like, we could go Black Cat or Kingpin in skill, but I really would love Omega Sentinel. I would love to use those SIG stones on her, particularly because I don't have Nimrod. I feel like every account should have Nimrod or Omega Sentinel. You could even argue that someone could benefit from both, but I just feel like that mutant ability accuracy as well as the prowess punishing is a very important thing to have on your roster. Both are good for Battlegrounds, so this is not going as planned, as number 2 gives us an awakened Drax. So I've again decided, maybe it was just late at night, maybe I was feeling a little gambly, a little crystal interest here, but we're gonna just see where we land. We get Mephisto, so now he is SIG number 60. And that's not bad because he's a good defender for Battlegrounds. But 3 in, we've gotten all old champs. I still haven't gotten Wong. I still haven't duped Hulkling. So, you know, we're hoping that we can get this together and find somebody that we want before we can put this crystal to bed forever. But then coming up next, it looks like we're going to get Wong, but it's just a Spider-Gwen dupe. First time dupe, I believe. So that's not the end of the world. But, you know, still not exactly what we want here. So moving on to the next crystal, I'm just going one by one, just popping these things, hoping for the best, and really hoping that we can get the result that we want. So here we go. Next crystal, we're gonna just tap it out, pop this thing. We get the scrolling wheel of death on the right. And it's going to land on Thing, Dormammu. Yeah, Dormammu. So not the result that we're looking for there either. Dormammu, I believe, was also a first-time awakening. So again, down the line, not the end of the world to have that Dormammu awakened. But looking at our shard total, we're at 68. So I believe we have 4 more total pulls to go to see if we can get what we want. And here we go. It looks like a Hulkling dupe, and boom, there's Omega Sentinel. So that was not pretty. I had already vowed that I was done with this crystal, but just looking at the resources that I had, all of these Sig Stones, the Tech Awakening Gem, the ability to take someone else to rank 4, it just made sense that I didn't want to put this crystal to bed quite yet. This will help me in the Battlegrounds tournament, having her as an option to fight Domino and some other annoying mutants like Sauron or Toad. It's just really good for my roster, and she's a little bit easier to target right now than Nimrod, since Nimrod is just in the basic pool. And then additionally, this means I don't have to waste my EOP Nexuses on tech anymore, because now that I have one of them, I can focus on other classes, because I do think, generally speaking, I'm not going to be wanting other tech champions, except for OS or Nimrod, but now we have OS. So with that, once the dust settled and the blood stopped flowing from all of this crystal opening, we'll see here that Kingpin has made it to rank 4. We used the Awakening Gem on him, and I consulted my friend Bryce, MU8s, who is one of my friends in the game and a great player, one of the earliest people on Kingpin, one of the earliest rank 4 Kingpins in the community. And I said, what is the usable SIG for him? And he gave me a good piece of advice. SIG 65, it gives you exactly 3 debuffs at the beginning of the fight. And in doing so, you do that first parry, you have 4 debuffs. It's that much easier getting into Overpower, and you don't get another benefit until you make it all the way to SIG 200, where you get the 4 debuffs up front, so that you essentially have 5. So with all that said, if you're not going to SIG 200 him, 65 is a really good spot for him to sit. And between the skills, SIG stones, and the generics that I had, it was pretty easy to be able to do that. And then we're flipping to the next screenshot where we see the rank 4 SIG 200 Omega Sentinel. I had exactly, somehow, I don't know how the game worked out this way, but when I was done with this and all of the tech and generics were used, I had 0 SIG stones left, and somehow I was able to get him exactly to 65 and get her exactly to 200. I do think it's a little bit of a big deal to have her awakened at all, because it unlocks her prowess punishing ability. That happens at SIG 1. It's a really important part of her kit. The other part of the awaken ability that helps is the armor ups don't always get consumed, and the higher the better. You have a 50% rate for them to stay when she throws her specials, which makes her a more annoying defender, easier for her to auto block and for the opponent to not be able to get rid of those armors so easily. So I do think it's pretty valuable. It also helps you when you're playing her, because the armors make her tanky. They kind of make up for her low health pool, and they give you that safety net of the auto block when you get to 10 armors as well. That has definitely saved me already in my testing. So 8.1 was a success. We ended up with 2 new rank 4s. This is number 6 and number 7. When EOP ends in a few weeks, we're going to have 2 catalysts each. So not quite enough to get our 8th rank 4, but we're getting pretty close. And the way that these materials are flooding in, I would expect number 8 to come relatively soon. And that's going to do it for today. So thanks for checking out this video, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.